We are back. I'm sorry for the delay. We've been a month away, not really doing anything special, probably just falling asleep to the England games. Sam has decided to blog today. So today we have some very special guests. If you'd like to introduce yourselves, please.
Hi, I'm Tanesha. I'm the channel account manager at Assured Data Protection. Thank you for having me. Very excited to be here.
Thank you.
And I'm Sam Blackburn, UK channel director from Assured Data Protection, working with Tanesha.
Amazing. Thank you very much for coming in. It was quite a surprise because I just reached out for guests for this podcast, had absolutely no feedback on my LinkedIn post. 2 weeks later, Tanesha pops up. Yeah, I'll do it.
I think we kind of felt a bit sorry for you.
Most people do. To be fair, half the guests that we've had on here just gone, yeah, go on then if it shuts him up. So today it will run like this. My usual news stories, which I now call Around the Water Cooler. We're then going into a sexy or not sexy office edition, completely not ripped off from BBC Radio 1. Thank you, Greg James. And then we'll jump into a little interview with the guys here about who they are and what they do. So, jumping straight into the news. I usually have Sam here as well for a little bit of backup, and he's not. I feel really lost. So jumping into this first news, which is, as you rightly said earlier on, Je suis dans le Seine, in my best French. Any idea what that means? How's your French?
I did GCSE French.
Okay.
My teacher forgot to press record when I was doing the oral exam, so I walked out and didn't do it again.
Fairs.
So I know 2 words.
Any of them, Je suis dans le Seine?
No, à la gauche, à la droite.
Turn right and turn left.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So this is going to work. Tanisha, any French?
I just know J. Is that I?
You just know I in French. So, je suis dans le Seine, how's my French? 23 June, which is 23rd of June, which roughly translates as I shit in the Seine on the 23rd of June.
Ah. Is that not to do with the French elections?
No, well, yes and no. So basically, as you know, in a couple of weeks, the Paris Olympics are starting.
Yes.
So a few weeks ago was supposed to be the date that the Paris mayor, Anne Hidalgo would swim in the Seine to prove that the water was clean enough for the Olympic athletes, because there's been a bit of rumours that there's been a bit of sewage going into the river. But she delayed the date until after the French election, so hopefully we're going to watch a Paris mayor swim in shit. Anyway, so President Emmanuel Macron has also promised to swim in the Seine, but the French, who are very well known for their protests, they don't let anything go. They have plunged us into shit. It is their turn to plunge into our shit. The problem is that all their resources have been invested not to resolve all the social problems we have at the moment. So they're saying they're putting too much money into the Olympics. And not helping us out because we keep setting fire to all our cars.
I'm surprised the Olympics is even going on if when they're not striking.
Yeah, the French are striking or rioting.
Yeah.
So I mean, if they're Olympic sports, they're gold medals straight away.
Brilliant.
Gold medals for rioting and setting fire to speed cameras.
A very much a broad acquisition of all French people.
It's not racist. It's factual. Yeah, we have the feeling of being abandoned. We see where their priority was. Apparently they spent more than £1.4 billion trying to make the water safe enough to swim in. That's a lot of money just to make a river nice, with the triathlon and open water swimming events scheduled to take place in the river.
Didn't they do very much similar for the London Olympics when they got to swim in the Thames?
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, as much as dirty as the Thames looks, apparently it's one of the cleanest rivers in the world. I mean, I wouldn't think that looks comfy for a dip. But yeah, a report published, this says on Friday, don't know when this was, showed the water was still too dirty to swim in just 5 weeks out from the first triathlon event. Water sample showed high risk of, this is nice, especially if you're an Olympian, fecal bacteria, including E. coli, and it did not meet the standards for the games. So yeah, the French are going to protest by making the dirty river dirtier. Logical, makes sense. The website programmer who started it all said, while it starts as a joke, people could follow through saying nothing is excluded. Nothing. Bloody French. This one is called A Little Slice of Heaven. This is a Mexican church pastor who is is going viral for selling plots of land in heaven. So if you want to get up there,
I don't think it's a bad idea. You could buy plots on the moon, and the moon in the heaven.
You can also buy a star.
Yeah. So.
I mean,
just cashing in.
Well, it's cashing in, but I get fair enough. The moon. I say fair enough. The moon. I could literally just start selling plots of the moon. How do you know you've got it? You're not going up there to go see your plot of land.
I'm sure you used to be able to literally go online and buy plots on the moon.
I bought
you
some.
You can literally go
do
online.
that, but some guy just set it up and thought this is genius. People are buying it.
I bought some land in Scotland just for the title, but I'm never going to go and see it.
No. What's your title now? Have you got
Lady.
Lady.
I don't use it unless I need to.
I might do that because, I mean, I can't remember if I mentioned on this podcast before, I legally changed my name to Mouth Almighty. So I might go by
deed poll.
By deed poll. It's on my driving licence. It's downstairs. I'll show you later on. So yeah, so my legal name is Mouth Who Wants to Know Almighty. So I might buy a piece of London so I can have it called Lord Mouth Almighty.
Do it.
Anyway. So this guy claims in 2017 that God authorised him to sell these plots, guaranteeing purchasers a spot near God's palace, regardless of the plot size. A circulating brochure details the purchase process, showing a middle-class house, white presumably, in the sky, and a family of 4 ascending the golden steps towards it.
I mean,
it takes all sorts, doesn't it?
Payment options include Amex, MasterCard, Apple Pay, and instalment plans are available.
I thought with it being in North America and like in America, well, I know it's Mexico, but they take Vimo and
Cash App. I mean, Mexico, you could pay with anything. It's cryptocurrency. You could pay with a couple of bags
There's
a week.
actually a place in Sheffield where you could buy a kebab with Bitcoin.
But yeah, there was a place in Newcastle.
Yeah.
I think I've still got the photo on my phone. So it was a chip shop. It just says
accepting Bitcoin.
Yeah, it was transferring Bitcoin for a.
Yeah.
Isn't because I don't know how big. Do you know how Bitcoin?
No,
is?
yeah.
No.
I've got.
I thought Bitcoin. If you got Bitcoin, it's worth like 40 grand. So how?
yeah,
do you
I should imagine you get a lot of kebabs with 1 Bitcoin.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean,
I think
this
it's
was a
you can
while
turn
ago.
it into Bitcash. I think it is.
Okay.
You can turn your Bitcoins into spendable
tokens.
cash
Okay.
per se. I don't know.
Fair enough, but if you're paying for kebabs with Bitcoin, fair play.
Bigger issues in the world.
There are. And the last story I've got is a cheeky foot job. Have you heard of the celebrity Lily Allen?
Yes.
She's just started an OnlyFans, hasn't she?
She has.
Selling pictures of her feet.
Just her feet, yeah. Lily Allen's feet. Where did she call it? She's been putting up posts on it. The singer shared a video showing a glimpse of her toes as she perched by the Trevi Fountain in Rome on her Instagram story. A link labelled La Dolce Vita took followers to her OnlyFans account, where the puns continue. This is a brilliant name, by the way. Her username is Lily Allen Footsie 500, as in the trading thing, yeah. And her bio reads, "Just dipping my toes in," while a recent post is captioned, "Soul Trader." She's charging subscribers $10, £8 a month just to look at Lily Allen's feet.
I mean, I'd do it if people want to pay £8 to look at my feet. I mean, I don't think people would.
If people want to look at feet, especially Lily Allen's feet,
Yeah.
people are going to want to look at your feet. Are you going to sell your feet?
They're flat, so they're different. They're like hobbit feet.
Similar. You just put them in the grass and pretend you're a little hobbit.
Yeah.
I mean, she quite famously said recently that she were too busy to do music anymore, so I think if it works, it's something quite easy to do in your free time.
Absolutely, I mean...
You know, kids are in one room,
there
quick
was-
pick.
There was once a girl who I knew, who we worked with, back 8 years ago. She used to sell her farts online.
Ah, yes.
What, just fart in the jar?
She used to like film herself farting and send it to people. No word of a lie.
I'm going to send it to her after.
Yeah, no word of a lie.
I wonder if she still does.
No.
Who buy? I know. To be fair, I know it's not to sound again racist, but the Japanese are these kind of people.
Oh,
they buy Yorkshire air.
Yeah.
They buy. Someone goes up to the top of a Yorkshire hill, grabs a jar, swings it round, shuts it quickly, and they sell it to people who kind of want to smell.
It's amazing
Yorkshire air.
what the internet brings out in people.
It's amazing what people the internet brings out.
Yeah. It's like people will buy anything.
Before the internet, there's a guy sweating going, where am I going to get my feet from? He's probably just like in a subway or something taking a picture. Now he can literally sit in his room in his little tidy whities jerking off to Lily Allen's feet.
Supply and demand.
But apparently this all started. Lily Allen's said her pedicurist, nice, told her she had a rare 5-star rating on WikiFeet. Also, there's an actual website now, a site where users rate people's feet. My feet are rated quite highly on the internet. Apparently she'd been receiving messages from people asking for foot content, whatever that is. I mean, the thing is I get that you can put your foot, like she's put it at the Trevi Fountain, nice looking, but you're still looking at her foot. The foot's going to remain the same wherever it is. So if you've got one photo, that's all you need, surely.
People are weird though, aren't they?
Yeah, it's not like you can pose the foot or dress it up. It's going to be pretty standard.
It's foot, unless you do
whatever the background is.
I mean, you can put different socks on it, but then you take it away. It's not.
Yeah, it's sock.
It's not explicit then, is it?
No, just a little cheeky pull down on the ankle.
Yeah, you just gonna have
the little toe.
A little
socks.
toe.
I suppose you could put different paint your nails a different colour. But yeah, so if you want to get your fix on Lily Allen's feet, OnlyFans is the place to be.
There's just no excuse for being skint anymore, is there, when you can get your feet out?
Yeah, absolutely. There's people going, I'm poor, I don't know what to sell your feet.
Yeah.
Sell anything. Sell your underwear.
Sell your farts.
Sell your farts, yeah, there's a market for that. Because in Japan you can get those little, we have them for kids where you put 20p in and you get a little toy in those little balls.
There's actually a shop in Meadowhall with nothing but them now.
What, just
a vending machine shop?
So they could probably relocate to Japan where they're incredibly popular, but inside the little balls, it's not for kids, it's where men buy dirty underwear.
Ah.
Literally just pairs of dirty underwear and little things, they take them and...
Awful.
Dirty buggers.
Awful.
That's the enough of the completely gross news this week. So yeah, off on a completely rip-off of BBC Radio 1. I'm not going to hide it, just in case anyone decides to not comment on my LinkedIn posts. This is a thing which we call sexy or not sexy, office edition. So examples are sort of cycling to work is not sexy, cycling home from work, free as a bird, is sexy.
Depends how big the hill is.
Hill. Or cycling up to work, not sexy.
Yeah.
Cycling away downhill from work, sexy. Eating a takeaway at work, sexy. Eating salmon in the office, not sexy.
What about eating last night's takeaway at work?
Not sexy.
Not sexy.
It just, yeah.
But getting a takeaway hot and fresh,
yeah,
sexy.
A nice sandwich from the deli, sexy. Bringing in Domino's, no.
Yeah, we've got a really good deli near our office.
Yeah, so your office, you work in Harewood House.
Yes, correct.
Which, to anyone who's outside of Yorkshire listening, it is a lovely stately home, gardens, massive area in North Yorkshire, between Harrogate and Leeds.
Near the Wolf Pack.
Near the Wolf Pack.
Yeah.
Woolpack.
Woolpack, sorry.
Woolpack.
Yeah, Woolpack. That's how often I watch.
Well, funnily enough, you're near the real, the new Woolpack. We have the real Woolpack just over across the road. That's how close we are to. We're both close to Emmerdale. But yeah, so you work in quite a nice little location. So again, would you say city office views, not sexy, countryside views, sexy?
Yes, but I've never worked in a city centre.
Okay.
Never worked in a city centre. But
have you worked in?
We worked in a trade. I used to work in a trading estate, which was not sexy.
Not sexy. Country estates.
Yes.
Sexy. Have you ever worked anywhere outside of
I've never worked
anywhere. just in your room taking pictures of feet.
I think I've always worked remotely for the last probably 10 years, I think. So,
Okay.
I think being in the office is sexy rather than being sat at M1.
So, office work sexy, working from home not sexy?
Yes, but then again, it just depends what day it is, what kind of day you've got.
What were the views from your house like?
Not too bad from my house.
Yeah, I've got some pretty bad views from my house, so I'm not going to say that's sexy. But anything else you would think sexy, not sexy?
What, in the office?
In
Yeah.
the office.
Not being able to find a seat, that's not
Yeah.
that's not
Oh,
the
so do
best.
you hot desk?
Yeah, we hot desk. No one has a dedicated seat apart from the boss.
Ah, right, okay. So we have our own desk, so I'd say desk sexy, hot desky, not
No.
sexy.
Yeah.
And if you don't get in before 8:30, you have to go and sit upstairs on the mezzanine. And it's like,
Then you
it's away from everything.
yeah, you're not having any fun.
Yeah.
You're not getting involved in the office
There's
bands.
not the banter as. Oh, so how our office is set out, sales, marketing, finance, and the management all sit downstairs. There's about 30 desks. And it's a typical sales floor, lots going off. But then upstairs is where a lot more of the brainier people, it's where our support desk is. So it's where the brains are, and they're constantly busy
Yeah.
on calls. So it's like, you can't have that level of banter. So it's like, it's good, and it's like serious.
Yeah, no. I mean, our sales floor, sometimes you actually have to tell people to shut up, or
Yeah.
can you just turn the music down? This isn't a Friday night, can we turn the house music on, please? Can we just have something everyone likes?
So I would suggest if you're getting sexy, it's like
Yeah, it feels like if you're late, then you've got put in isolation in the quiet.
I mean, I turned up an hour early to work anyway, but I know that I can sit at my desk and just sort of relax for a bit. Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I like a bit of peace and quiet now and again, but
But then also a good brew is sexy.
yeah,
Bad one is
Yeah, there's nothing worse than somebody doing a round of drinks and bringing your dishwater tea.
yeah.
yeah. I mean, no one is allowed to make my tea. I have my tea in coffee in a cafetiere. Make it one hot
Ooh.
black. Oh yeah, proper dark black, strong black coffee in the morning. That's all I need. But yeah, people coming around with, like you say, dishwater. Looks like they've just waved a tea bag over
Oh,
the
it's
top
got to
of
be
it.
builders.
Yeah, because people have their own preferences and then they use their preference to make yours, and what is that? No,
It's never the
thank you.
same.
No, never the
I
same.
judge them on the complete basis of the tea
So
making.
making your own brew sexy,
Yeah.
other people making it not sexy.
But it's also good when you get brought one, which is a good one.
yeah.
It's nothing better, because I hate making my own teas.
Oh yeah.
It's like one of my pet peeves in the world. So that's why I don't drink them at home, because I have to make them.
I mean, oddly, at home I do make instant coffee. Again, quite strong and with a little splash of milk in. But yeah, no one's allowed to touch my drinks in here. Not having it. Stay away. Right, so we'll jump into our little interview with guys. So you are from Assured Data Protection.
Correct.
Who are they?
So, Assured Data Protection, very, very bluntly and very high level, we are a managed backup and disaster recovery provider.
Okay.
We are an MSP, but an MSP of different. 8 years old now, but when we started, we was like, we're not going to be selling direct to end users as a traditional MSP does. We're going to work with the channel, which also has its complications as well, because people see us as an MSP, and when we're building our channel, they're like, "Well, we can't work with you. You're our competition."
Right. Okay.
We were like, "Well, we're not. We're channel only. We're delivering a service which a lot of people haven't got or can't do." So, global organisation now. I think we're close to 150 people globally now. I think it's forever changing. Like last month, we've had 10 new starters.
Okay. Oh, so you're
Growing.
in many countries.
Yeah, well, 2 offices,
Okay.
Harewood House and then Washington DC.
Wow. Okay.
It's where our founders were from. So our founders are very close to Harewood House, so they got an office at Harewood House. One of our founders in the US lived very close to Dulles Airport. It's a place called Herndon, Virginia. That's where Dulles Airport is. And funnily enough, that's where the office is. It's like a lot of organisations, their office is normally very close to where the owners live.
Okay.
So it's just nice and easy for them to get to, and they're like,
'Cause
well, I work here, so if you want to come and work for us, you come here.
I was going to say, because you mentioned last week that you went over to the other office in America, or
We're going next week, actually.
Oh, next week?
Yeah, we're going next week. So we've got a global channel summit. So we're meeting all the channel leaders from the US and the UK. We're all getting together, formulating more strategy and how we're going to go to market a bit more. But so we've got a couple of days in Chicago.
Nice.
We're going to work from a couple of our global partners offices, and then we're over to DC for a few days.
Is that the whole? I imagine not the support teams, but is that the whole office, or is it just a couple of you?
It's just the channel team. So there's
Okay.
myself and Tanesha, and then we've got a guy who lives down in London who covers all our southern partners. Tanesha does northern partners. Ewan, who does our southern partners, he was supposed to come, but his daughter is. She's leaving school. She's leaving school. She's leaving junior school to go to secondary school, so she's got like a leavers assembly. And then in the US, because of the vastness of the US, there's 8 or 9 guys over there who cover all the different time zones in the US, so we're all converging in Chicago.
Nice. How long are you there for?
A full week.
Just a week, yeah, a week. So it'll be a lot of work.
Okay.
A lot of work.
But a lot of.
No, it's all going to be very professional. There'll be no extracurricular. It'll be 8 in the morning till 8 at night.
Yeah.
Full sessions.
Thank God no one can see your face right now.
Yeah. It's good. This is why I asked if it was recorded.
Yeah.
No, it'll be good to go and visit, and Tanisha's been with us 6 months, and at Assured we do what we call an exchange program.
Okay. Well, does he get rid of her?
Yeah, so we different teams come over, and we just swap over. So like in August.
Not like the keys in the bowl sort of thing.
No, we're not. It's not that. It's not that sort of organisation. Not yet, anyway. But so the US guys will come over to the UK. So there's always like a selection of channel, sales, support, and technical will come over to the UK, and vice versa.
That's cool.
So it's a really cool perk that we get as an organisation to be able to go and spend a few days in a different country, learn that. I know it's only the US, but it is a different culture.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's understanding how they sell as well, because even though we sell exactly the same thing in the 2 regions,
completely different.
it's sold completely different.
Nice. No, I like that. Just trying to speak to
Like when we did our SKO, the leadership, they swapped, so that was pretty cool because we didn't realise.
Yeah, they did the big switcheroo as well.
Yeah, so
do they do the swap at the same time? So like you never get to meet the Americans coming over, or is it kind of
No. So the US. So we're doing a race. We have a company summer party where we go to the races.
Okay.
In August, and the US guys for their President's Club or high earners club or people who've really hit the target and gone above and beyond, they're coming over to the races for the
Nice.
week. So we got to
earn all the money and just sponge it all at your races.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fair. No, decent. So yeah, I've got a few little bullet points here.
Yeah.
Obviously, these outsourced versus managed.
Yeah.
How does that work?
So I think with a lot of organisations now, there's a lot of different challenges that end users. You sell IT solutions, and you're probably seeing now that there is a lot of people are being asked to do more with a lot less, and they're getting asked to do loads of different tasks, and one of our biggest things is how we talk about, and it's not just truly just
so
I've his microphone so many times.
so excited. It's
this is really nice.
It's not just actually outsourcing your backup and DR functionality, it's actually putting a proper strategy in place and a proper plan where it is managed by someone, and there's actually structure in that management, and it's actually taking it to the next level and understanding what that looks like to a different end user.
Okay.
So an end user who's a 50-man law firm might be completely different to a 300-user financial company. So they all may have a level of outsourcing their IT functions, but to what extent? And it's how we can help achieve that while still giving people control of their core functionality, their backups and DR.
Okay, so it's sort of like you just sort of like a bolt on to what they already do.
And a lot of IT managers, IT directors, CISOs, CIOs, they all want the same thing. They want the best, but a lot of them don't like to relinquish a lot of control. They like to make sure that they are touching the buttons and making sure that they can click stuff.
Yeah.
And go and change stuff in different GUIs, and IT people have been selling IT now for close to 15 years, and nothing's changed. They're just a lot more knowledgeable. They just always like to tinker. IT people, I find anyway. So when they're outsourcing their managed backup and their managed disaster recovery to ourselves, we still like to give people control and actually do things in their own environment instead of just completely outsourcing it and that's it. We like to give people, if they want it, the ability to control things themselves.
Okay, that's interesting. I've got a word here that I don't think I've ever seen before. Immutability.
Immutability. One of the biggest buzzwords in backup
at
the moment.
That's probably why I've never heard of it.
Yeah. So immutability came to market around 5-6 years ago now, and it's now part of everyone's backup plan and DR plan. What immutability actually means is things that cannot be changed and cannot be amended. With the solution that we offer to our clients, it is part of the pure main focus of what we do. With a lot of the providers out there, everybody now talks about the immutability piece. The biggest thing that what we can offer now is it's not just giving them the immutability and that actually having that as an add-on and as an extra bolt-on where we can charge them extra to make their backups immutable. What we do now, all our solution is natively immutable, so it's actually built in at the core. So it's not an added extra bolt-on, it's not more cost to the customer, it's actually natively into the backups as well.
Do you specialise in any particular sectors with all this kind of things, or is it?
No, so the customers that we have, they're ranging from a one-man financial organisation in London to one of the last real big deals that we did was a 45,000 user M365 backup solution. So it ranges from any sector, any size of organisation. Backup now it's everywhere. I don't know if you talk to your clients, but it's everywhere now, and it's not just a maybe we should get it. I think we've got a bit of money left over, we'll go buy a bit of backup. It's now at the forefront of everyone's conversations. The reason why it's not marketed as backup no more, they've moved away from just talking about backup to then start talking about data security. The data security now actually sits with more of the CIOs and the CISOs of organisations if they're that size. The budgets now are a lot bigger in that market, in the cyber market, than just the traditional infrastructure market, and it's actually getting onto their tables and becoming of an interest to them because of, which we'll probably come on to more, is the height of ransomware attacks now.
That was going to be my next question. How does the fight against ransomware fit on all this?
And this is where it leads into the immutability piece, into the ransomware piece, because of it's now getting onto the CIOs and the CISOs table. You hear in the news constantly. I mean, just last week of ransomware attacks. I think it was just last week that there was a blood company which is associated to the NHS that had all their records stolen. That might not have been a part of the backup, but they got in somewhere. But the beauty of having good, clean backups and a good, clean disaster recovery plan is, you will probably get hacked at some point. You will get hit with a ransomware attack.
Because it is sometimes the biggest companies who have the most money to spend are the ones in the news who.
Yeah. You're gonna get hit with ransomware attacks. It's how good your defences are, and that's the beauty of it. No one is immune to a ransomware attack, whether you're a small solicitors or a big organisation like a British Airways or Tesco's or Morrison's or whomever. No one's susceptible for a ransomware attack, and the attackers don't care who you are or what you do. That you're going to get hit at some point, but it's not just the ransomware attacks that are coming, it's how, if you do get hit with ransomware attacks, how can you recover? What is looking at the blast radius of the ransomware attack and actually looking at the blast of what it's actually affected, and how can you recover, and how quickly can you recover, and how quickly can you come back to a normal state. And it's actually taken into affect everything that's happening in that ransomware attack, because people think a ransomware attack now is solely focused on an IT function.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a company problem. We run some events called Save the Data, which is a simulated ransomware attack, and within that scenario, it's not just the IT function, it's operations, it is IT, it's HR, it's sales, it's everything as part of the organisation where a ransomware attack can hit. So for instance, you get hit with a ransomware attack and you're a retail organisation, you can't open the doors because they're electronically marked, so you can't open the electronic doors because you've got no connection between your servers and the electronic doors to turn them on. Your POS, your payment systems can't go down, can't work because you've got no connectivity. So
they will literally just attack anything that they
yeah.
can. And
so you're losing your right to be able to sell because of a ransomware attack, which then affects everything, and it's just a domino effect of everything that's happening.
It's good. Like you say, I don't think I've ever heard the mention of just opening your electronic doors at the front of the store. It's
people don't realise.
Yeah, people just think they're just going to go after all your customers' email addresses. They will go for if they can get in.
But if they completely shut down your system and you've got no systems, how are you going to sell stuff?
It's nuts.
How are you going to sell stuff? You've got no payment system, so you can't sell anything. If you've got a website, your website will go down, so you can't do any internet transactions. You won't be able to literally everything. And then if it's coming towards the end of the month, and then you want to start paying people, and you've got no payroll.
So how would you open? Let's say customers, after listening to this, they're thinking, this might be something I need to look after. What are the three things they should be asking themselves first?
I think the big thing that when we're talking to prospects, it's like, do you have an immutable copy of your backup? That's one of the core things that we talk about. Do you have an immutable copy of your backup? What we next talk about, which then leads into my next thing, is like, what's your disaster recovery plan? If you get hit with a ransomware attack, how can you recover? How quickly can you recover? Can you go to your board confidently and say, we've been hit with an attack, this is the process, this is the steps, and this is how quickly we can actually recover from? And then the thirdly is, how long are you actually spending on your backups? Is it starting to become time consuming to you? Do you want to extend your team without paying for multiple factors of extra people, to hire backup admins, to hire DR admins, to hire more infrastructure engineers? Do you want to take away that pain so you can concentrate on more of the day-to-day tasks that you were actually brought into? So they're for us, that's what the three things that we when our sales guys are going out and talking to people, that's the real big three things that there's obviously a lot more, but they're probably the three things that we'll like to talk about, because we're not selling a product here, we're selling the service. So we're selling our expertise, we're selling our years of experience of what we do. And I think that the DR piece for us that's where it's really big at the moment. It's like during our SKO, our CTO was giving one of his talks that he does, and he was like, we are as an organisation, we are in a constant state of DR. When I first started about 4 years ago now, we had like 40 customers globally, and we do regular DR tests for all our customers. And because we had 40 customers, it was easily manageable. Mm-hmm. It wasn't difficult. Now we're close to over 700 in like 4 years. The amount of people invoking DR onto us, and the DR engineers doing DR tests constantly, they're just so busy all the time. So they're always in a constant state of DR with all our customers, even though they're not all being hit with ransomware attacks. They're forever doing the testing, they're forever doing the new testing of more environments that are coming into the estate as well. So it's constantly in a state of DR. And DR can be numerous things. We've talked about ransomware attacks, but what about if your building floods and you lose power. That's a DR. So that's a traditional DR, what we used to see. I think one of our big user cases that we've got is during COVID, we've got an organisation, managed company in Chicago called, it's a convenience store. And during COVID, there was the Black Lives Matter riots, wasn't there?
Yes.
Do you remember? So during the Black Lives Matter riots, the rioting starts and people get excitable and they start looting. if you remember.
Yeah.
So one of our customers is an off license or a liquor store, depending on where you base. And this one company used to host all their primary infrastructure in the back of one of their stores. Bearing in mind this is a 32 location off license, so it's got 32 different locations around the Chicago metro area.
Everything was in one.
Everything was in this one location. Rioters started looting this shop because they fancied a drink.
Fair enough.
Gets it through the back, and then they're like, "Wow, well, there's IT equipment here. We can take this, and we can sell it." Thousands of dollars worth of equipment. So their primary infrastructure got stolen during the Black Lives Matter riots. So then they had to invoke a traditional DR because of they've got no infrastructure.
Yeah.
This company now obviously doesn't host all their primary infrastructure in the back of one of their shops.
I would say, would that then sort of fight your case up for traditional sort of server thing to cloud?
Yeah, I think, you know, that transition to cloud is happening. It's happening more and more than we see. But there's also a lot of people who've moved to the cloud, and the cloud has started to become very expensive, and they're starting to transition back. So I still think that there's still a place for that traditional infrastructure on premise. But this one company, even though they didn't get hit with a ransomware attack, they still needed to invoke DR because they had everything stolen.
Yeah.
Which is what is a traditional DR, or what we like to call a shit hits the fan scenario. And for us to be able to take it away, spin them up in our disaster recovery environment, and then bring them back when they were able to open up a new location to do their hosting, whether they've got the on-premise or the cloud piece, we was able to then bring them back in a safe environment when they were ready to do so. But they lost days worth of revenues solely because of the rioters. It's frightening, and that's not just from a traditional ransomware attack. That was from a just people being bad people.
Literally just stealing hardware.
Yeah.
It's not even not even a ransomware attack.
Yeah.
So if I was, because obviously I know you mentioned sort of getting expensive. Let's say I was to finish this podcast, go downstairs, start making a few little cold calls.
Yeah.
What are the people you'd be targeting in an organisation? Because I've always found IT guys, like you said earlier on, they love the little thing, they love being. Would I go for an IT guy, or would I start looking at the financial guys, thinking, putting the money side of things into their head?
I think it depends what story you tell.
Okay.
You know, you could be speaking to an IT guy on how cool the GUI is, or what we use at Assure Protect View, how much more time it'll free up for them. But then if you're talking to a finance guy, you'd be talking about how much money they're going to save. You know, what would the replication be if they did get hit with a ransomware attack? How much money would it cost the company? If they put this in place, how much would it save? You know, so it depends who you're speaking to, I think. But we tend to aim for the C-suite.
Okay.
When we're having these conversations.
And I think that goes into the thing. I think, you know, do you speak to a finance person or do you speak to a technical person? You need buy-in from both.
Yeah.
Because the finance person's not gonna sign this off if the IT guy has not bought into the technology or the service. So it is both, and it is, and we're finding now a lot more that even you need to convince both the finance teams now and the IT teams. Even though a finance guy might say to an IT guy, right, you've got 50 grand for your IT budget for the next 3 years. Everything's becoming so more and more expensive now as well, so it's like he's got to make sure that budget will stretch as much as possible. And if he can outsource something where he can cost him X, where he then can have that peace of mind. I think that's what we're finding a lot of people are doing, and I think it is that peace of mind where a lot of people need now, because they're not getting the support of the old IT budgets where they used to get thousands and like off you go, see you later. You would just keep buying stuff. It's just not happening no more.
Do you find it easier? And obviously you've got the stories, even from as minimal as just some writers in Chicago. But do you find it's easier to get into them after they've had an attack, or do you find
we're probably, if they've had an attack, we're probably too late, because they've got to try and rebuild their environment. They've got to try and it's going to cost them a lot of money to rebuild everything. But I think if it does happen after they've had an attack, we've got user cases in the UK where an education body got attacked, and we got brought in to try and help them, and we managed to help them. But it's sometimes that little bit too late when everything's happened, and where you're scrambling now to try and find things to be able to recover back to, instead of, because if you're under an attack at the time and we go and do an implementation, how do we know what we're backing up is clean? We're not just backing up malicious files. So I think the biggest thing from us how we win and where we get in is when renewal dates start becoming too expensive. The software and everything starts becoming more and more expensive, and there's hardware refreshes that need to start happening. That's when we'll start becoming relevant. If they've received bad service from another provider, that's when we start becoming relevant. But some people will have been burnt by another MSP, and they're like, "Oh, we're never using an MSP again." We've had an MSP and we've had nothing but shit service for the last 3 years. We're never doing it again. But with what we do as a service provider, and I do feel we are a true service provider, is our CTO said he never really wanted to become a software organisation. Didn't want to build a software organisation. Didn't want to hire developers. Fast forward 8 years now, I think we've got a team of 15 in-house developers, and we've created our own IP called Assured View, which is our monitoring and management platform, which is fantastic, and it's something our CTO and the dev team now are so proud of. But what this actually does, it's brought in a lot of automation to the managed service. So what the automation can bring now, it's every day all our customers receive daily reporting. Everything that you need to know within your environment in the backup world is in there. If you want to then invoke a DR environment, just log in and you can literally click a button, and everything, all the playbooks are built into there. We've cut down how we deploy things as well. So when we used to do implementations, it used to take a couple of days to do everything. We've now built another silo in our Assured View platform called Deploy View, where everything pre-bootstrapped, and it can now reduce that time down from a couple of days to 2 hours. So everything has been fully automated, and our dev team have worked relentlessly to be able to do this, and I think that's what's setting us apart from the competition in the market. And our CTO was like, he never wanted to be a software company, but he's kind of.
I'm saying the times are changing.
It's just morphed
so
into
quickly.
It's just morphed into it.
So obviously, you didn't start off as an end user sort of company. Now it was sort of like you were a service that you passed on, and now you are sort of going to the end users. Do you find it's an easier?
I think our business model, we're a channel. We have a channel model, so we have end user sales guys, but we work with channel partners, like companies like yourselves, where they make introductions where, they sell backup, but they don't really know about backup, or they might.
That's me.
You might think, oh, I sell a bit of antivirus, or I sell a bit of firewalls, or I do a bit of servers, and I sell a bit of everything, but I don't really know anything. But I've got customers who have backup requirements and I don't know what to do. And that's where we come in and actually bridge that gap for you, when we become an extension of your team, where we become your specialists in backup, where you can make introductions to ourselves and say, Tanesha, Sam, we've got an opportunity for a backup. He says he needs some backup. I haven't got a clue what he's on about, but can you help me jump on a call and we've got a team of very skilled sales guys now where we'll get one of the sales guys on the call with one of our SEs. They'll fully scope out the opportunity, size it, and then help you through that process from you hearing the word backup or disaster recovery to contracting with the customer.
Cool. That's cool. So what are your roles exactly? So if, would I come directly to you and then you pass it on to the salespeople? How would your roles work?
So we have a set amount of partners that we're obviously targeted to develop. So I work underneath them, and I will also look out for new partners as well. So I'll work with these set partners, do educational sessions, help them understand how to go to market. And what I'll say to like my partners or maybe the new sales team, say if we're doing a brand new education session, if they've ever heard of GitHub, the owner of GitHub recently said that software is eating the world, but software is data, and anyone who works within software or data will thrive currently because it's obviously just growing just ridiculously every single day. This is an easy way in for any of our partners, to basically gain from us, because it's just such a big market at the minute. So I think basically when we just wanted to grow the channel. We do a lot of things like we're doing a partner summit this week down in the Gherkin, so we're inviting loads of our current partners, loads of new partners. We're doing a full day session, lots of new bits and bobs that we've got coming out.
Yeah, but people tend to like to go to Tanesha and Ewan a lot more than like a lot of the sales guys just think they don't really know why I'm here. They wonder why I'm here. And I do sometimes, really. But no, I think in terms of like people like yourselves, we're very open. We pride ourselves on trying to be easy to do business with. Don't like to overcomplicate things. When it's overcomplicated, people switch off. And they get so bored of what they're trying to do. And if we can make it easy, we can make it relevant, and the biggest thing, we can make people money, that's where we're winning at the moment. We want to make people make money off these backup projects.
Yeah.
And that's where the partners that we've not got a huge amount of partners. We don't want a huge amount of partners. We want partners who commit into ourselves, and we commit back into them. But most of our partners now are making on opportunities really good margin, really good GP, and it's actually helping them, if they've not got it, creating that reoccurring revenue model, which for a lot of business owners now is really, really important to create that monthly reoccurring revenue model, which is really important, which is what our business is built on.
Yeah, honestly, because we've noticed, especially sort of like in the hardware market, everyone's going out for hardware. People are now going out, especially for like long customers I've had who've now been tasked to go out and get 3 quotes, and I'm not saying I was making a lot, but bringing your margin down. But so that reoccurring revenue, you're safe.
Yeah.
For a couple of years, you've got that in the background.
And that's what we try and educate our partners when they're coming to us, and they don't sell backup. We've got a lot of traditional cyber security resellers who have just sold security solutions for the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, but they're now seeing opportunities where their margins are starting to drop. Their customers are becoming they're getting hit by everyone, because we see on LinkedIn where so many people are actually moving away from the traditional big boys and starting up on their own. So there's always that new kid on the block trying to come in, trying to take a piece of your pie. So, these traditional security resellers now are moving into different markets to ensure that they're getting more wallet share from their customers. And the services that we can offer, it's new services into them that they won't have the expertise, the time, the inclination to set up themselves. So if they can white label our services, it adds that recurring revenue model to themselves, it adds new customers to themselves, and the biggest thing, it adds GP onto their bottom line.
It adds a little sort of string to their bow as well. They know
exactly.
They can say it's themselves and obviously outsource. Well, thank you very much, guys. It's genuinely been probably the most interesting podcast we've done so far. There was 15 minutes of me talking shit, and then you guys absolutely been ridiculously professional. You've probably turned this podcast around a bit there.
I mean, we could change it if you want.
No, I think that's enough. No, really appreciate you guys coming on. I think you've probably given our listeners something genuinely interesting to listen to instead of me talking about pooing in a river. But yeah, so I'll put this out on the things. We'll stick all your contact details if you do need anything on anything that's being said, any of these big words that I've got written down in front of me that I have no idea what they mean. That would be very helpful. But yeah, cheers guys, thank you very much for coming on.
Cheers
Thanks for
having
having
us
us.
Grazie.